Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
I think lunch like now knows when we're recording. I have a little lunch
Yeah,
box in my lap.
he's like our podcast guest all the
Yeah.
time.
Hi, do you have anything that you Googled today? And he's like, if I eat a whole roll of paper towels, is that gonna affect me physically and emotionally? I just like I first saw it. I was at Evan's place and I first saw it on the like camera that there was just like paper towel scraps everywhere. And then you come home and you're like, what were, what were you trying to get out? What were you upset about that you didn't get
I
fed?
fucked that paper towel up. You're like, why though? Why?
No, just tell me what. Like what? Like if you explained it a little bit, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. But like, I just want to let you know, I was 3 minutes late feeding them. Three.
Yeah. And
And they
that'll teach
revolted.
you.
And they revolted.
You be on time, woman. I was eating before the podcast. I'm hungry. But I was like, I think I was just like wiping my hands off with the paper towel, but like, I was like, oh, there's like a little bit of hair. And like I was rolling it between my fingers to get it off me. And it wasn't a little bit of hair. It was one of those wispy spiders.
Oh
I'm so disgusted by it. And now I can't eat my meal. I'm just looking at it. I didn't have time to like get rid of it. I'm
no!
so hungry, but I'm so grossed out.
Where'd you find the spider was on the paper towel though? It wasn't in the food.
I think it was on the paper towel. I think it must have crawled maybe onto the paper towel or something. Or I think actually what happened was is I dropped the roll, so I picked it up and I didn't think anything of it. So maybe it was on the floor.
Yeah.
But then yeah, so it was there and it was just I was rolling it around on my finger.
Having a good
And I was like, "You
time.
get this hair off me," and it was so much worse.
The UK doesn't have screens in their windows, right?
No, that makes too much sense.
Yes. Okay. I that was like one of the first things, like the not having air conditioning. I was like, okay, all right, that's a choice, and I respect it.
That makes sense because it's generally pretty mild here. You don't need it.
Yeah, I get that. But the screen, which is like even like I know a lot of places have like really old windows. They have ones that are like you can just stick it in there. Like you just stick it in there.
Yeah,
No,
just stick it
nobody
in there. We should have a screen company for the UK, and that's going to be our motto. Just
screen.
stick it in there.
Stick it in there. Just think about all the
You got a
bugs you
window? Stick it in there.
stick it in there. You don't have to meet them. You don't have to meet these bugs. I that is one of the things that I was just like, guys, there's some stuff you need to update. There's just a few
Yeah.
things. Just have a few notes. Take them or leave them. No big deal.
What if there's a whole influx of Americans because of this election, and they just like, we have notes. Love what you're doing with the place.
Heard you guys are only slightly better, but not really. You do have healthcare, which I don't know if we have access to. There's been an influx of like people Googling if they can change their vote. There's been an influx of people
Oh,
Googling.
really?
Yes, there's been an influx of people Googling.
Why? Wait a minute. Inform yourself before the vote. Why would you do that?
But isn't that Brexit? Remember, like Brexit happened, and then everybody's like, "What is Brexit?" And you're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 did you just?" But that's, I mean, that is, I think that's universal. Like we're pretty dumb in the U.S. I think that's universal. That you're just like,
I didn't think I could make a difference.
yeah. I mean, here we are. And then yeah, there's been an influx of people Googling like how to leave. And
Moving
then
abroad.
even crazier, I'm not Googling anything. I've touched nothing. But my Instagram and I think it was my Instagram is just a bunch of like how to be an expat, 6 places you can work remotely while living abroad, like all these like whatevers. So I think just in general people are but it was funny.
Oh
Come
yeah, I
on.
read an article where
No, seriously.
a relocation company was saying like move abroad was Googled like tenfold or something after the election. But and so the article was about like all the different places you can live and like how to move there, which I didn't give people a lot of hope because like all of them were like you have to work in a sector that they need, which is
Yeah.
usually nurses. So if you become a nurse, you could pretty much move anywhere.
Which is
But
actually true for the US as well. Like nurses can move anywhere.
yeah. Yeah, but they said that happens in like the past two elections as well. It's like move abroad, get searched after every election, essentially.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And Kimmel actually had a pretty good joke where it's just like all these people are like, "Can I move to Canada?" And he's like, "You can move, but if you really want to help America, move to Florida or Pennsylvania. Like if you're gonna make a move that's gonna help the future, that's what it." And I genuinely made me laugh, and I was like,
Yeah.
because like I was in Raleigh this weekend, and do you remember Brian McGinnis? He said hi.
Hi. Yes, I do.
Brian said hi, but yeah, I was Brian was opening for me, and we were getting coffee and stuff, and he was just like, he's like, it is interesting though because North Carolina is, because people, he's like me and other people moved to North Carolina, and it did. I mean, it didn't come out purple this time, but he's like, we are getting more purpley. No, it's just been it's been interesting. What an interesting time to live in. I think that's
Yeah.
just going to be how I process this. What an
It's
interesting
sort of
time
like,
to live
oh,
in.
let's see what happens.
I love this. I love that life is already up in the air and now we have other reasons. I love just keeping me on my toes. How fun.
That's what I was going to say. Do you know what I love about you Republicans? Just keeping us on our toes. Is it going to be an
Every
authoritarian country? We're
every
going
day
to
we
find
start.
out.
Well, but I was in Raleigh, and I don't know if I said it before, but like my thing that I look forward to the most in Raleigh is they actually have one of my favorite antique stores, and it like did not disappoint. It's called Chester Cat Gallery. It's just junk. It's owned by the oldest people. I ended up like ranting about it at my shows because I love it so much. Um, but I had my ticket sales were like okay, like some shows were pretty good, some shows were great, some shows were pretty good, but I my 10:30 10:30 on a Friday just shouldn't be a show ever, even when you're famous.
Yeah,
I forget how
100%.
I think Bill Burr talked about that being the worst show. There's a bunch of comics that are like the late show on a Friday is like if we could he was like I would do a Wednesday show before I do a late show on a Friday. Like it's just the worst show. And so of course
Do we
I
know
had
why, though? Because it feels like Saturday's late show would be the worst because people have been drinking all day. But Friday's late show is so much worse. I'm not really sure why.
so in general, I think like cuz like Friday is actually a hard sell. Weirdly enough, Thursday I do better if I was going to do an off night. I usually pick Sunday. I think Sunday's a better or at least for me. But I would do a sometimes I pick a Thursday over a Friday. I think it's hard to get people out on a Friday. They've had a long week. They if the show isn't like immediately right after work, it's like what am I going to go home? My cats are being
Your
loud.
cats are like rock stars in a hotel room.
Yeah, you know what? I should start swiping their credit card for incidentals because they are
Seriously.
there is damage that has been done to this apartment. Um, but I I feel like if it's not right after work, like I think it's like a 7:30, like right, like you can go to dinner and then go to a show. But that like 9:30, 10:30 on a Friday, it's like you have to wait around or you're going back. Like it's hard to get people to leave, go home after work and come back. And then the people that have, like you said, have just stayed out, have been out all night. So they're both equally drunk and tired. And dude, I have not had a late show, not disaster, because it wasn't a disaster, but just like a ridiculous late show in a while. Because they don't do them anymore. When I do a full weekend, it's like Thursday, one show Friday, two shows Saturday. Or it's like Friday, two Saturday, one Sunday. It's that everybody's learned that late show Friday is financially and emotionally a disaster.
Yeah.
But basically this girl, so it was like 14 people. Let's just start there. It was like nobody was there. And this girl and her boyfriend friend were like kind of talking and her face was like that the whole time. And I couldn't look at her because I was just like, it was just resting like angry, disappointed face. I don't know what it was, but I was like, no. And then 15 minutes in, they got up, half drank beers, got up. As soon as they left, it was probably the first time I've ever been like shitty. I was like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but they were the worst. Can we just talk about it? And so I talked about it a little bit. They were gone. I was happy. They were a great now 12 people, had so much fun. They come back a half hour later. I don't know, but I'm like disappointed. Like I'm watching as I'm telling the joke. I was like, no, come on. The girl,
You kidding me, man?
dude, like, the girl has ice cream and sits down, and I'm like,
He's like, I know what my boo needs. I know
yeah.
what she needs. She just needs some ice cream. We'll come back. We'll be happier.
Oh my god. So they're talking. I finish up the joke. I look at her and I was like, "Oh, you left and got ice cream." And she says something. I say something back. She's very like snooty, like mm. And so I'm just like, "You are up, wow." And I go, "How old are you?" She goes, "Guess." And I was like, 30. And she goes, "No." And I go, 35. She's like, "No." I go, 40. She goes, "Wow." And I go, "Are you younger?" And she goes, 28. I was like, wow, dude, you're going to have a rough life if that is who you are at 28. I was like, Jesus. So then they start like, so I go back into jokes. I start to tell a joke. She starts talking. I go, hey, dude, you got to stop because this is like kind of a story. And then as I start again, the bouncer comes in and I have it on tape. I posted it.
I saw this video.
Dude, it's amazing. He was disruptive, but it was so funny, and I hated them so much that I was like for it. And he doesn't say anything. He's just like trash. Trash. And it takes you to understand what's happening, but eventually, makes her throw out the stuff, kicks him out. It turns out, I found out afterwards that when they first tried to leave, they tried not to pay their bill. So they already they tried to sneak out and not pay their bill. I think they did pay it. But, them coming back, they're like, fuck these people. So I was like, we were all on the same page about this couple and truly what trash they were. But it was like, I mean, I've never bonded with people more because after they got kicked out, I was like, we can all agree she's trash, right? Like, what a trash I've never been more proud of
I found it so funny that somebody would address someone else. Especially somebody like he is he's in power in this situation. He's the bouncer. He can kick you. He comes in and says trash. Everyone's confused. You're confused because you're like, what's going on? They're confused because it's like, is he just referring to me as trash? And he says it. He goes, trash. He says it 3 times. So he's like not gonna explain himself. You'll figure out I mean you when I say trash.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And you're like, honestly, sorry, how great is a man that just calls someone trash on your behalf?
Dude, I loved it. I really did. Because, it was incredibly disruptive. But, 1, they were already being disruptive. And 2, there was, a creativity that I was like, just, yes. If you're gonna... It was already a weird moment. He was like, these people cannot stay here. And I'm not going to even waste a full sentence on them. His name's Keith. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Keith.
And she's there with her ice cream going, huh?
Like no one's ever put her in her place before. Just a wild.
Good, yeah.
Just truly, it's so weird when you meet a terrible personality and you're like, I don't know if there's any redeeming qualities. It seems like it's a big college town. So maybe she went to college and then I don't know, just stayed and just was like, I think I might ruin people's lives here. I don't know what her future holds. But it's been a while. It's been a while. And I worked on some new jokes and that really helped me in this week. I don't know how everybody else is healing, but I worked on a joke about why I suck as a person and it's really coming together.
Aw, I feel like I hate this joke.
I hate this joke. No, actually, I don't know for someone. It's basically about how I fight all responsibility. Like anything I don't want to do, I just push it away. Like I'm like, not today, and I essentially save up everything I don't want to do so I can just have the worst day ever. And it's.
Well, I think that's smart. because everyone has shit they don't want to do, but you're like, I'm going to consolidate it to one day. There's going to be one day where my life is ruined.
Thank you
And
so
then
much.
every other day. I
Thank you.
mean, yeah, it's smart.
This is why we're friends. That's how I feel. Like I'm gonna
It's
change my
brilliant.
light bulbs. I'm gonna go to the dentist. I'm gonna go to the post office. Like everything I don't want to do, I try to do it on one day. And so the whole joke is like,
100%.
I just want to fuck up a Tuesday and then, go on with my life.
100%. When I look at my calendar, if somebody's like, are you free on this day? And I see like 3 open days. I'm like, no. And then I'm like, but Thursday, because like Thursday's already fucked. Thursday I have
Yeah.
a doctor's appointment. Can you do Thursday?
Yes. Oh, dude. This is why we're friends, man. I think this it might be an artist thing. Although that's not true because Evan edits but Evan is just like so on top. I think I've really realized it. Like, you know how sometimes you have to have something like reflect, like a mirror or something show, like, because he's so on top of it and he's so like, do it right away. I don't think I've ever seen how much I push things off. And it actually has made me feel better because like there's been a couple of things I've just gotten done in the last couple of weeks or even the last week that I've been putting off for months. One thing I've been putting off for a year. And I was telling my dad about it and he's like, I feel so bad that we're the same person. He's like, dude, I am exactly the same. He's like, the only reason I got stuff done is because I had an office manager and I had like, he never had an assistant, but he always had a practice manager, like somebody that would like do stuff. And she was like half my assistant and would get things done. He's like, he's like, I know I was a nightmare to work for. I was like, Dad, you were a nightmare as a dad. So this is all coming together.
No, but yeah. But you also have a lot of responsibility, and that's why you have assistants. And it's like you are juggling a lot. So it's just kind of a priority thing. Your mind is going, I need to get this done, but I don't want to get it done now. So there will be a particular day I get it done. And so I can focus on the more important things right now. And I don't know why, like, just because Evan, like, bats things as soon as they come towards him, that's a better way of living your life than how you do it.
I mean, it is, you do whatever works for you. Like I also get that. Like if that's what makes your
I feel like your
life.
cat's about to choke you to death.
He's
He's
not.
like coming up behind you.
He's
Like
so.
I feel like, is that Ghost too? Because
This is
Ghost will be like, just see this little paw come around your neck.
I'm
Or is that Lunchbox?
No, it's Ghosty. He's
Yeah.
just he's the fat one now. He's ginormous. Um, no, to each their own, right? Like whatever. Like there are things that like a good example is like we'll be talking and you'll be like, oh, that's funny, write it down, or I'll be like, hey, you need to like we both like I don't stop, write it down, because one, we're just kind of all over the place, but we know enough from the creative process that if you don't write it down, you don't encourage somebody to write it down, that thought is forgotten. And I will always be that person. I do wish I was that person with like things that have to get done, because it does get overwhelming when something is serious like taxes or getting my car fixed, or like just something that like there's no, like the things I've been putting off, I want them to get done, but they don't really have to get done. And so I think there's a part of me that excuse me, a part of me that is like jealous and wishes I was like that. And I do feel a little bit better that my dad's like that, where I'm just like, well, he did this to me. like
Yeah.
I didn't choose to be this way. This is how I was either raised, or it's in my DNA, or I don't know. But it has been, I don't think I ever really noticed how often I push things off that I don't want to do. Cause like we all know, like, so like emails, I hate emails. Everything about emails suck. But as soon as I get an email that's like, hey, do you want to do this show on this day? I'm like, like I'm all excited. I'm whipping out my notebook. I sometimes like will be looking at my email in bed, and as soon as somebody's like, can you do this day? I'm like, let's go find out. Like, because I'm excited. I'm excited
Yeah.
for work. I'm excited for money. Like but like, I don't know. So, but the joke's doing really well. I'm really excited about it.
Good. Great. I had my play reading, which went well.
Ooh. How do you feel? Like overall, how do you feel about it?
So I feel good about it. Like it's a different skill. It's hard to, like, because my director was like, don't play to the room. Like, obviously, like, you're going to get laughs, but don't like stop and be like, like a comedian might like react to it and respond. And it's like, just, you're in this world, you're this character. And it's a totally different skill, and it's fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I got a lot of good feedback, and some important people came, and yeah, so I'll tell you about it later. But it was a success for what it was, which was a reading to see where we were at and to kind of get an idea and reactions. And I think I performed it as well as I could at that point in time. Not that I did bad. I'm just saying, like, it's not perfect. I'm not off book, but I was performing it, and and it just it's coming together, and I'm excited.
So wait, so I guess I don't, for a reading, it's not at a table. You are like on stage performing it, but you're allowed
I was
to.
on stage, but because it's just me, so I'm on stage and I have like a stand and my notebook, so I'm reading it, but I'm acting it as I'm reading it.
Okay. Okay. So it's like
And then I have tech coming in, so like other characters' voices, a projector, like photos, stuff like that.
so like a read through in the sense that all the other stuff is happening around you. Everything's going to according to plan. The only difference is you're not off book. Like you're not. Okay.
Yeah. And hopefully with more money involved, like if I get a producer involved, like there will actually be like a set design and props and wardrobe. I don't know props. I don't know what kind of props I need. I'm a wand. And but like somebody would be doing lighting, and it's like they would look at the script and see like what, like, oh, if you're in Los Angeles here, maybe we do some warm lighting. Like it's somebody's job to like dream up what the best lighting scenario is for this stage thing. It's like, it's really cool.
Yeah, I love that. That's exciting. So what's the next step?
So the next step is send it to the theater that asked for it, the tape of the reading. And if they want to put it on, that would be excellent. And so we would get it on its feet, do a run at the theater, and then the producers that came would come see it on its feet. And then hopefully they go, we want to give you all the money. And
what's your bank?
And then
account number? We want to submit some money, and you're like, oh my god, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I ever want. And then it would actually have some like production value to it. So next step is getting it on its feet. I'm getting ahead of myself. Who knows? But I'm excited about it.
Doing stuff. What an opposite week we had. You're just like, I did a play and people listened, and I was just like, some girl was just eating ice cream. Like, your dreams don't matter to me.
Yeah. This is why I hate comedy, though. Believe me, they were just drinking wine going, your dreams don't matter to me. They just weren't saying it out loud.
Which is the more respectful way to do it. You do it in the cab as you leave. Like, that is the mature way of doing it.
Exactly.
But then Saturday was awesome.
I will say I got one note that like annoyed. It didn't annoy me. It frustrated me because it's something I've been trying to work on, which is to like slow down during the more like heartfelt like story moments, because I have like all this stand-up experience. So like rhythmically, I'm a stand-up, and I find value in getting laughs. So I get laughs and I'm like, oh, I've given them value and now they're laughing. So I know they're okay. But when it's just story, I don't know. They could be invested, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm not getting the feedback. And I tend to, and I've been working on not going so fast during the parts where there are no punchlines. And I thought I had like nailed it. So I was like really proud of myself after. And I was like, I delivered that really well. And I was in it. I was acting it. I wasn't telling it, And then this woman was like, I loved it. I loved it so much. The only thing I would say is like slow down and have some confidence in it because it's so good. And I was just like, fuck, because I thought I had.
Was that just one person? Do you like
I think the overall note was that the more like story parts of it, like the comedy's there, but the more story parts of it need to be brought up. Like, I think it's a percentage thing. It's not that, I don't think the story's super underdeveloped. I just think it's like, you need to pad it out more so that it's like, maybe it's like 75% funny or 70% funny, 30% story. And maybe it needs to be more 60-40 or something is kind of how I feel it's going. But no, I think most people didn't give notes on the performance. And actually, I got a lot of like Like you have a slick delivery, you're very good at, whatever. So,
Because I think, I mean, this is without only seeing kind of the stand-up version of what you've done. Or actually, no, what did I see when you were in New York? Was it last year?
oh yeah. I mean, that was still mostly stand up.
Okay, so I saw, let's say, like we'll say the 90-10 version with stand-up.
Yeah.
But I think from knowing you and from seeing what I'm seeing, I mean, okay, here's a good example. You know when you're writing a joke and it's not working, but you believe the audience is wrong, and you're like, I'm gonna do minimal change. I'm just gonna believe that this joke is gonna work. And maybe you change a word here or there, but really you've done nothing and it just starts working because you're like, no, I'm gonna make this work. I also think there's something to what she's saying that it actually is less sitting in the moment or exaggerating it and just believing, truly believing that you are worthy of someone's attention when not, you know, being a clown, right? Like when not like having to
Sure.
give this extra value. Because the truth of the matter is that you do know you have value and you do know that you're funny, but this is such a new form of expressing yourself, or at least this is the furthest you've been in this, especially for this piece, that I think it might take some, weirdly enough, like just believing that the lulls, people are going to come with you for the lulls. And as somebody that's played a bunch with silence, and I don't think Ted Alexandro's done a bunch with this kind of stuff, but I do think I've been heavily influenced by how calm and slow and this like, I was just talking about him in the green room this weekend with the other comics, where it's just like it was so awe-inspiring that he would come on stage at the Cellar and just like kind of like he'd like play with the flowers. It was when flowers were still on stage, and he'd put his back to the audience, like the number one rule you're not supposed to do. And then like maybe like 30 seconds in, he'd be like, so I was at the grocery store, and it was just like captivating because you're like, what is this man doing? Like, this is wild. And I
Well,
think
yeah.
I was really kind of, he was such a, him and actually not Dave Chappelle now, but like Dave Chappelle 10 years ago, were like influences on how to kind of allow, like, I think it was actually Dave Chappelle that was like, if you're interesting, you don't have to be funny. And I think whenever I'm playing around with timing, those are the kind of two people and the thing I think of the most. And
Yeah.
I don't know, that's my
I
thing.
just think that like I've always played with silence. Like I have jokes where I wait long beats and stuff. Like
Yeah,
I'm not afraid of silence, but it's because I know there's a
there's a
punchline coming. I'm
payoff.
like, it'll pay off.
Yes, I understand.
But if I'm just being like, if I'm just trying to convey that my character is upset and I'm just being silent, I'm like, if they're not invested or if they're not in it, they're going, oh, for fuck's sake. And like I can't think of any of that. You know what I mean? But it is true that you are very captivating when you're not saying anything, and people are like, whoa, like, what are they thinking?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not afraid of silence, but I am afraid of silence without a punchline. I'm like, I want to pay you back for listening to the silence.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And it is like, if they're in the story, it is a payback, but I don't know it because I'm not getting the feedback, etc. My point is though, is that I was aware of that going into it, and I thought I had worked on it. And I'm being hard on myself. It was one reading. It was the first time it was on its feet since May, when that was in a stand-up club. So that was even like, that was hard. But like, the more I do it, the more I think I'll be fine. I
Yeah.
just thought, like, I thought I'd pulled it off. And so she gave me the one note that I was like, God damn it.
All right. You're doing something. Something's getting done.
Yeah. All right.
You're in announcements.
Yeah.
I am. This month's a little slow, which is good because I'm tired. I'm in Westchester, November 22nd. Tickets are selling fast if you want to come see me in Westchester. And then me and Maria are in Baltimore early December, and then Batavia, Illinois. So come see us together,
Yeah.
in Maryland or Illinois. And then I have a bunch of other dates in the new year. Everything is at lizmealy.com.
Yeah. I think my only dates are your dates.
Perfect.
Otherwise, I might be at Angel or I might be at Top Secret, but I don't know when. Yeah. So I don't really have any other announcements.
Cool.
But you can follow us
Yeah.
on Instagram at two non-doctors. It's the number two non-DRS. And then Twitter, YouTube, and Gmail is at two non-doctors. It's the number two non-full word doctors. And thanks to all our patrons. Thanks to people who have given us tips. You guys are the best.
Yeah. And Googly Googs, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I Googled what is the difference between obsessive and compulsive. Because so I'm getting my eyebrows done after this, but like when they grow out, I cannot stop like playing with them. Like the little stubby hairs that are growing underneath the like, like the eyebrow. I can't stop touching my face. And I'll stop. And then just without thinking about it, I just go right back into it. And I think that's a compulsion, but I wasn't sure. I was like, is that an obsession or a compulsion? But so the AI overview is that obsessions are unwanted thoughts, images, or urges that cause distress, while compulsions are repetitive behaviors or mental acts that are performed to relieve that distress. I think it is a compulsion. But can you have compulsions without obsessions? Or is it both? Do you know anything about them?
I don't. Like,
Okay, so it says, yes, it is possible to have compulsions without obsessions, but it's rare and usually means you don't have obsessive compulsive disorder. To be clear, I don't think I have
yeah,
OCD.
no, and I do think there are like the same idea that like when my hair is straight, I play with it because it's soft, and I don't get to do that when my hair is curly. So there is just like there's something calming, and I do constantly reach for my hair when it's straight in a way that I don't do it when it's curly because I know it'll mess up my hair. But it's like when it's
And
straight.
as somebody with the physical form of misophonia, what's it called? Knit's physical misophonia. It starts with a K, but it's just like where movement bothers you. I notice you doing that a lot. But I would, if somebody else were doing this with their eyebrow, I would be so bothered by it, and I'd be like, stop doing that with your face. And then they would stop and then go right back to it. And I'd be like, knock it off. So I would annoy myself, basically.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what's it's usually when something is like soft that I'm like cuz I'm the same way. Like yeah, I don't know. This is a really dumb example. So like my cats are very like cuddly, and there are cats that when you pet them too much, they get overstimulated and they hate it, and Pasta was one of those cats. So I would pet Pasta for like 10 minutes, and then out of nowhere she would bite me sometimes. And it's just because she's overstimulated, and I'd be like, "Oh, my bad. Sorry. Didn't read the room. Didn't read your ears. Sorry, sorry." And we're still cuddling, and then we're just watching TV, and then I go right back, and like she would give me like two pets, and she's like, "I thought we talked about this." And I'm like, "It's just
Don't make me claw your eyes out. You feed me.
yeah." But I was like, so there is like I think I don't know. There's something about like just things that are like soft. Like I have my soft blanket. When I lost my cats, I would pet my blanket like a crazy lady. I don't know. So I do think there's just some things that are comforting. Maybe that's what it is. Like I find soft stuff comforting, and I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in
Yeah.
distress.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not in distress. I'm not like, I have to rub my eyebrow 10 times. Like, it's nothing like that. It's just, without thinking, I just like run my hand back and forth, the stubs. And it's like, knock it off. And then I'm like, right back.
And then
So
and then you
I
get
don't know
your
how to
eyebrows
stop
done and
it.
you don't have it, right?
And then what?
Then you get your eyebrows done and you don't have that thing, and then you're just fine, right?
I know it's so great because I'll go for it. I'll be like, oh, it's gone. And then I stop doing it.
Okay, all right. Perfect Google. Just
Thank you.
You have some of the weirder ones, and that's what I think. That's why people come back.
Yeah. I've learned after like 5 years of doing this podcast, I've learned so much that it just gets weirder because I'm like, well, I don't know that. I know everything else. I was like, in 3 more years, we'll have a medical degree.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think one of my favorites is just like when why is it that what my shoulder hurts when it was like something really random. Your shoulder one? Do you
Yeah.
remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, when I eat. By the way, like, people listening scared me because they were like, that's not normal. You should get that checked out. And I told the doctor about it. They seemed to be like, we'll come in, we'll check your shoulders. And then I went in and I said it hadn't happened in a while. It only happened like once in years. And so she didn't seem too concerned.
That's great. Perfect. I think that's totally normal. I'm sorry I called it weird. Okay.
Yeah, they're not worried. By the way, like I had been having headaches every day, and then all everyone says is, "Are you drinking enough water?" It's like all I drink is water and coffee, but it's mostly water. But I went in about it, and then she was like, "Do you have a stressful job?" I was like, "I'm a comedian," and she was like, "Sounds stressful." I was like, "Can be." And she was like, "Well, just make sure you're drinking plenty of water." And I was like, "Yep, all right, cool."
I just truly can't. There's some really good like videos and memes online where it's just like you've waited like 6 months for this appointment, whatever, whatever, and they're just like, "Are you eating?" And you're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Are you drinking water?" And you're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay, well, just keep doing that." And you're like, I cannot. I can't. I can't.
Yeah, yeah, that's the solution to everything. It's either drink more water or meditate.
Cool. Cool, everybody. Okay, my Google. So basically, I'm trying to eat healthy. Last week was quite difficult as a first week to try to eat healthy. And I was like super PMSy. Like every time I ate, I was unsatiated, like couldn't be satiated. Like I just felt hungry all the time.
Been there.
But I had some, I was like, and it's very hard to do on the road as well. But I one day I just got eggs. Like I got a side of eggs and a side of avocado. And it like did it. Like I didn't feel like I felt like I got through like that whole meal, like the whole time. Like 4 hours went by and I wasn't like obsessively thinking about food. I felt like I was satiated. I felt good about what I ate. So then I was like, can you just eat? Like, can you get most of your nutrition from like eggs and avocado? Like I enjoyed the meal and it satiated me. So I was like, can you get most of your nutrition from just eggs and avocado? Because I was like,
You're so funny. You're like, that's what works for me, and that's what I'm going with forever. No, I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat anymore. It's eggs and avocado every day, three meals a day.
So this is the reasoning, though, is that I can easily find that on the road, right? Like I could
Yes, I
probably
get
get
it.
eggs and a side of avocado or buy an avocado anywhere on the road. But like I need to keep it simple, but also not feel like I'm being deprived. And I don't know. I was like, ooh, I felt good. It did its job. AI overview was like, no, what's wrong? AI overview is like, what? Why'd you even Google that? So they're
Man
like,
cannot live on eggs and avocado alone.
exactly. You can't get most of your nutrition from that. And it says nice things about eggs and nice things about avocados, blah blah blah. But oh, shit. So crap, I had it up.
What I
It
keep
was
learning about nutrition is that everyone's saying like the diversity in what you eat is what's healthy. And
yeah,
like you could eat kale every day, but if you change it up and like sometimes it's kale, sometimes it's spinach, sometimes you eat red pepper or whatever, like that color and that diversity is what's good for your gut as opposed to just one thing over
for
and over
sure.
again.
Yes, 100%. So I think in general you do need that variety. I think leafy greens are important. I think you know if you're not vegetarian or vegan, having red meat so you can get like B12 and stuff like that. Like I don't know. It's not going to stop me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like I'm still going to eat.
Yeah.
Like I guess because I don't think people understand like well that question is like will I get my nutritional value from this? The alternative is like coffee and muffins. Like I'm not getting my nutritional value from that either. Like I need I feel like there's like one extra thing, and it's not salad. I know people are like get a salad, but salad upsets my stomach half the time.
What
I
about
can't.
nuts?
Um, yeah, I can do nuts. I'll sometimes do nuts.
Yeah. I have some pecans and walnuts or pumpkin seeds, and that kind of satiates me a bit. Or like, spoonful of peanut butter too.
Yeah. But I was just like, I was all proud of myself. I was like, what a healthy meal. If you did this all the time, you'd be 6 feet tall, and everybody'd be like, you're so healthy. And the internet's like, dude, just stop.
I
So,
love that you equate health to height. So it's like we're fucked.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. We didn't grow. Um,
That's such an 80s thing too. It's like drink your milk and grow up tall and healthy.
I'm like, but I did it. What happened? Um, but yeah, the answer's no. But it's like a soft no. They're like that. There's so much great nutritional value, but you can't just do that every day. And I was like, man, it is like I think I'm constantly in this place where I'm just like I just want to make it simple, and it's like life's not simple. And I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
But I feel good. Do you feel good? We did something.
Yeah. We did something.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.